Okay, everyone, we're going to go over the study guide for the test. I hope this helps. Number 1, is the line passing through the points parallel to the line passing through some other points? To figure this out, we need to compare the slopes. So we're going to use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm going to go ahead and label x1, y1, x2, y2, and then plug them in. Here's what I get. 3 minus 1 over 5 minus 0. Then 3 minus 1 is 2. 5 minus 0 is 5. There's my first slope. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the other ordered pair, x1, y1, x2, and y2. Then I'm going to go ahead and plug those in. So I get 5 minus 6. Come on. Minus 6. There we go. 5 minus 6 and negative 3 minus negative 8. Careful with the minus a negative. 5 minus 6, I get negative 1. 3 minus negative 8 means, negative 3 minus negative 8 means plus 8, which gives me an answer of 5. Then I want to compare the two slopes, and since they are not the same, we would say, no, the lines are not parallel. On to the next one. What is the slope of the line parallel to this one? Well, what do we know about parallel lines? We know they have the same slope. So if I can figure out the slope for this line, then I'm going to match it. So using y equals mx plus b, where m represents the slope, I can say the slope is going to be 2/7, and because it must be the same, that is the answer. Number 3, what is the equation of the line that is perpendicular? Perpendicular means we have slopes that are opposite sine reciprocals of each other. So it says, what is the equation of the line perpendicular to this one using good old mx, y equals mx plus b again. Here's the slope I'm given. I need the opposite sign reciprocal. So the opposite sign would be a negative. Reciprocal of 2/5 is 5/2. And then it also says it passes through the point 8, negative 12. Since we have a point and the slope, we're going to use the point slope formula, y minus y1 equals m x minus x1, where this is going to be x1 and y1. So I just go through and plug it in. Y minus negative 12 equals negative 5, try that again. Negative 5/2 times x minus 8. So I'm going to fix this up. Minus a negative means plus. Here I would distribute negative 5/2x. When I do the negative 5/2 times the negative 8, I'm going to do that over to the side and put a 1 under the 8. Then you can cross cancel if you know how. Otherwise, just go straight across. I get 40. Negative times a negative is positive. 2 times 1 is 2. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So I would say plus. Why does it keep doing that? I'm sorry, guys. There we go. So I'm going to say plus 20. Then to finish it off, I'm going to solve for y. So subtract 12 from both sides. Final answer, y equals negative 5/2x plus 8. Number 4, what is the slope of the line, not the lie, perpendicular to the line defined by the equation? So again, we're looking at perpendicular, which means opposite sine reciprocal slopes. And in order to figure out the opposite sine reciprocal slope, I'm going to need to solve this for, solve this for y. So putting it into y equals mx plus b, then I'm not sure what's going on with that pen there, guys. Sorry about that. There we go. So if it's in slope-intercept form, then I can figure out the slope easily. So to write this in slope-intercept form, I want to solve for the y. So I start by subtracting the 4x from both sides. I get negative 7y equals negative 4x plus 21. Then divide everything by negative 7. So I get y equals Negative divided by negative is positive 4 over 7, and then x. Positive divided by negative is going to give me negative, and then 3. So here's the equation rewritten. Here's the slope we're looking at. We need, again, the opposite sign reciprocal. So the opposite sign would be negative, and then reciprocal would be 7 over 4. And it asks us what is the slope, so that would be our answer. Sorry about that. Next one. What is the equation of the line parallel to the line that's given? Parallel to the line that's given that passes through the point. Parallel means same slope. So if I look at the equation I'm given, here's the slope. My equation is going to have the same slope. Then, since I'm given a point, we're going to do point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And this becomes x1 and y1. And then I go plug them in. So y minus negative 6 equals 1/3 times x minus 15. This gives me y plus 6 minus a negative means plus. Then over here, distribute 1/3 x. And again, if you're not comfortable doing the 1/3 times the negative 15, just do it to the side. 1/3 times negative 15, put a 1 under it, go straight across, unless you know how to cross cancel, and you are welcome to do that. So straight across, I get negative 15 over 3. Divide that out, I get negative 5. Final step, solve for y. Subtract 6 from both sides. I get y equals 1/3 x minus 11. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point, 5, negative 7, and is perpendicular to the line containing the points? So this time we're given a lot of points, but there is something very important we're missing. We must have a slope in order to write the equation of a line, especially if we're talking about, going back, talking about perpendicular lines that have opposite sign, reciprocal slopes. In order to figure out opposite sign reciprocal slopes, we need to know the slope of the first line. So using our slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, we're going to go to those 2 points that were given here. And I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2. Because those 2 points are on the other line, that's going to tell me the slope of the other line. Okay, so here goes. When I do that, I get, looks like 9 minus 11 over 4 minus 3, or negative 2 over 1, which is negative 2. So that's the slope of the other line. We want our line to be perpendicular to that. So that means opposite sign reciprocal slope. So opposite sign would be a positive. Reciprocal of 2, if you sneak a 1 under it, 2 over 1 becomes 1 over 2. So that's the slope that we're going to use. We're also given the point up here, 5, negative 7. I'm going to call that x1 and y1 so that I can do point slope form. So y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1, and plug it in. So y minus negative 7 equals 1/2 x minus 5. Then I get y plus 7 equals, here distribute 1/2 x, and then again do that fraction math to the side if you need to. I get negative 5 over 2, which is yucky, but we're just going to write it down for now like that. Then I would, go back to the right slide. Then I would subtract 7 from both sides. I get y equals 1/2 x. Then I have to do some fraction math again. So negative 5 over 2 minus 7, put a 1 under it. I need a common denominator, so I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 2. So I have negative 5 over 2 minus 14 over 2. I get negative 19 over 2. That goes back into my problem over here. So minus 19 over 2, and there's my final answer right there. All right, on to the next one. Fill in the blanks. If 2 lines are parallel, their slopes are equal or the same. I did have some people say congruent. I would accept that, but equal or the same is probably a little bit better answer.